You're watching News Desk. Welcome back from Matt, and we continue our coverage of pain at the pump, where we're looking at what's going on in the country considering the shutdown along major parts of the country. At this point, we're going to cross over to Kitengela, where it shut down very early today, and our reporter Vera Mora is on ground to let us know the recent happenings. Very good afternoon to you, Vera.
Good afternoon to you too, Ndu. Indeed, I am in Kitengela, to be more precise, in the Kitengela-Namanga highway. And as you can see behind me is a total shutdown on this road. What you can see is actually a few motorists making their escape from the other side, where we've seen protesters having, tete with the police officers. But this is what has been happening since morning. Earlier on, I was here at as early as 7 a.m. and youths were actually on the road, lighting their tires and making blocks on the road, just to prevent every motorist from accessing Kitengela town or even getting out of Kitengela town, ensuring that it is a total shutdown, not only for Matatu operators who called actually for the strike, but for every commuter. With me here is the Secretary General Matatu Owners Association to speak to us on why they called this strike, even if we know that it is due to fuel hikes and pengine usimame hapa kidogo, you'll tell me, have you felt the strike that you called for? Is it a success, or have your circles actually come out to support your strike that you called for?
Yeah, my name's Wilfred Bosire. I'm the Secretary General of Mass Mobility Operators Association, and we called for this boycott, total shutdown, because of fair prices, and I feel like it's 100% successful. As you can see, I'm forced personally to work. I'm trying to catch up the meeting at 4 in Transcom, where the minister has called. But apparently, from the statement of the CS for Treasury, I don't think is going to be of help, because he's already made a decision they're not going to do a reduction of the fuel prices. And we as operators, we cannot go back to the roads with the current prices, fuel prices. So I think they can have their diesel or petrol, and then we can have our vehicles parked. We see, then when do we lose more? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How many circles have been affected so far countrywide?
It's the entire transport sector, the public transport sector. We have around 800 to 1,000 circles. And in terms of the economy, the transport sector, in a day we transact over 6 billion, I guess, Kenyan shillings, not calculating on the human resource that we transport to work. So I think the country loses more when we have our vehicles parked, and as you heard, we have an alternative plan. What we did today, we were to withdraw our vehicles from operating. Mm-hmm. Maybe tomorrow we might bring our vehicles the road and do a procession to IPRA and the Ministry of Energy.
Mm-hmm. Have you perhaps have had a meeting or arranged for one with the ministry or all the relevant authorities on what is happening in the country right now?
Actually, we did a notice. That was on Friday. Then today, we actualized what we told the nation that we'll do. And from the response from the government and the minister, also the Minister for Treasury and Energy, who has not been able to speak, I don't think there is a solution out of it. Yes.
Do you think the strike is going to continue to tomorrow, or are you going to close it today?
No, not to tomorrow. I'm telling you, Kenyans should be prepared to either work or work from home. We are not going to resume operation if there's no reduction of fuel prices. And actually, I'm going there to tell the minister that, in person, to understand that Kenyans, we are tired. You see, we cannot sustain. Most of these vehicles, we get them on loans. We cannot be able to sustain loan repayment. We rather have a conversation with the financial institutions that we are not operating due to unavoidable circumstance that of fuel prices, rather than having our vehicles on the road and we are not able to meet the obligation of the loan obligations.
Thank you very much, Bona Secretary General. That was the Secretary General Matatu Owners Association, and it remains put that the Matatu strike will actually continue until the government gives them a sit down or listens to their cry. On my right, perhaps my camera person can actually show you, this is actually a lorry that has come. The Kenya police are, entering the vehicle and perhaps heading to Kitengela town to make sure that security is tight. Behind them is actually another Subaru vehicle. I may not conclusively say who it belongs to, but that vehicle is here to escort the police officers all the way to Kitengela town. What has been happening since morning is police officers chasing the demonstrators and demonstrators exchanging with police officers since 7 a.m. to this time. But as you've heard, the Secretary General Matatu Owners Association remains that this strike will actually continue. And also here I have another resident of Kitengela that will speak to us. Utaanza kwa majina yako kamili alafu utanieleza umekuwa hapa tangu asubuhi ama imekuaje? Ulikuwa unaelekea wapi? Pengine umepata usafiri, imekuaje?
Nilikuwa naelekea Nairobi. Hapa asubuhi tulikuwa tunaelekea Nairobi, tunafanya kazi Nairobi. Tumekuja magari zinatupeleka hazitupeleki. Ana atuelewa, anatuambia tu mambo mafuta. Mimi kama mimi jenzi nauliza wenzangu wote. Serikali ya Bwana Ruto kama kwa hii miaka 5 imetutesa namna hivi, yani kila kitu chenye unajaribu ushike huko iko hivi, ukishika huko iko hivi. Kwa hii miaka 5 kama inatutesa hivi, na je wenye anasema miaka 10 itakuwa aje? Mimi kama majenzi naambia bado hatutakubali hii serikali yake kutufinyilia sisi kama hivi. Yao wako na madoa, wako na magari wanajiendesha, sisi ndio tunaanza maisha, mbona wanatuharibia yetu? Mimi kama watashukisha bei ya mafuta, sisi tunawaambia ni bado. Wakiangusha huyu leo mwingine hako, wakiangusha huyu leo mwingine hako, tunaambia bado sisi na nyinyi asubuhi na usiku, na tunaambia Bwana Kasongo mambo ya kusema unarudi tutam, my friend, sahau. Serikali utaiweza, sahau.
Asante sana kwa maoni yako. Huyo ni mkazi wa hapa Kitengela. That is what has been happening in Kitengela. And remember, this is actually the highway leading to Namanga, and that tells you that business into Kenya and Tanzania in Namanga has actually been paralyzed on this highway, and all the way to Machakos and Nairobi County. We were earlier on at the SGR and all the way to the expressway, and no activity at all along the Mombasa Nairobi highway. That is it from Kitengela. Back to you in studio.
Thanks for that update, Vera Mora. She is in Kitengela at this point, following with what's going on, known to be sometimes an area where police presence has been introduced. We'll keep with that later. Transport has been disrupted in Kitui town after thousands of residents lit tires and blocked the road from Kitui to Nairobi as they joined nationwide protests against rising diesel and petrol prices. Police officers who arrived at the scene engaged the protesters in dialogue, urging them not to block roads and instead carry out peaceful demonstrations. The protesters expressed their hardship